country girl who's a florist and quite mostly sort of shy girl, and she goes to a village fete and ends up dressing up in a costume as Marilyn Monroe. And the tourist person takes a YouTube video of her dressed as Marilyn. It gets uploaded to YouTube. Somebody thinks they spot Marilyn's ghostly image kind of lurking in the background, as you do, and instantly she becomes this overnight sensation, and loads of people flock to this small British village. And she has to choose: does she want to be Marilyn and make loads of money, or does she want to be herself?
Next up, we have Kate Allan dressed in Regency costume from her Regency set novel set circa 1810. Over to you, Kate.
So I've written several Regency set novels. They tend to be in the period from about 1795 to 1810, 1812. This particular costume I had made for a Jane Austen festival, and it was to particularly match one particular heroine of mine, a lady called Sophie Grantchester. She is a clergyman's daughter, so she wouldn't have been terribly well off. So this is actually a sprig pattern.
Falls bounce about.
Very, very small, sort of delicate pattern. It was very popular in the first decade of the 19th century, particularly suitable for kind of unmarried girls with all sort of pastel colours, paler colours. It wasn't when you were married, you could sort of wear all sorts of bright, blues and vivid colours. Unmarried, you tend to stick with pastels into white. Very sort of simple empire line dress. It's got, again, no corsets in this period, as long as you've just about got the figure for it. There is a petticoat, and then the bonnet is actually quite in a way, the bonnet would have been much more expensive than the dress. This particular bonnet is felt and then silk lined, so probably would have cost, the dress would have been homemade by my heroine, because she would have made your own from this, but the bonnet, you would have gone to a shop and actually bought this, so quite smart.
Lovely, thank you, Kate. Next up, we have Christina Courtenay, author of The Scarlet Camino. She's dressed as her heroine, Hannah.
I'm Hannah Marsden from The Scarlet Kimono. Hannah was a tomboy who envied her brother's adventurous life. She stows away on board his merchant ship. She ends up in Japan, where she's abducted by a warlord. Who falls in love with her, but she has a jealous rival who gives her a scarlet kimono because she has red hair, and obviously that clashes terribly. I was going to dye it, but I thought, anyway, that's why with the scarlet.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Jean Fullerton, author of Perhaps Tomorrow. She's dressed in 1840s Victorian costume as her heroine, Mattie Maguire.
Yes, I'm dressed as Mattie Maguire, and in my book, Perhaps Tomorrow, she's a widow, and she, as we met her this morning, she's got the coal yard. What she doesn't know is that her coal yard is in the path of the Wapping to Stratford Railway that the villain Amos Stebbins is trying to acquire. So that's sort of the basic plot. But clearly there'll be another hero that's going to turn up, who knows what villain that Amos is, and is actually going to come along and help her overthrow. I am wearing Victoria's. It looks pretty smart actually. It is a proper costume as opposed to like a fancy dress. But actually, Mattie's a very poor woman living in East London. So everything would have been second hand. This would be her outfit that she would wear when she was going to go and renegotiate her coal to look smart and respectable. She'd have to wear a bonnet. It's not completely accurate, because I'm not wearing a corset. If I was, I wouldn't be able to speak corset. I'm not wearing a corset, and I actually have only got one petticoat on, whereas in fact she would have had 4. This is before we had crinolines. Crinolines didn't come in for another 10 years or so. They are all second hand. The poor never had fashion, they just had clothes. So they wore what they could get, and if they were very lucky, they'd buy something like this for about 5 shillings in a second hand shop. But she would wear this when she wanted to be respectable. And there's a scene at the end where she has to go to a board meeting. I won't give too much away. And she dresses and she buys herself a new outfit to go to the board meeting and her bonnet. And she said even if she was wearing the crown of England, she wouldn't feel any less nervous than she was. So that's Matty Maguire, who we met.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Sue Moorcroft, author of Love and Freedom, dressed as a waitress as her heroine, Hannah Sontag.
Really ought to tell you, today we have lemon drizzle cake. Today, 3 kinds of pie, cherry cupcake or chocolate cupcake. Yeah, I'm Hannah Sontag. She came from Connecticut to find her mum in England, and she is a history major and she's a financial consultant, but she didn't want to do any of that while she works in Brighton, in and around Brighton. She wants to do something that is going to be really easy on the brain, and so she goes to work as a waitress in a coffee shop. It's unfortunately turns out to be the coffee shop of the hero's stalker.
Thank you very much. Last but no means least, we have author Mandy Baggot. Some people can see. We have author Mandy Baggot, author of Knowing Me, Knowing You, dressed as the Love Dove.
Yes, the Love Dove is a character in my novel Knowing Me, Knowing You, available from the bookstall, funnily enough. And he's a principal character in the story because it's set around a game show, a bit like the Generation Game and Mr. and Mrs. It's a relationship contest. And my heroine Kate is beloved with joining in with this contest with her male escort she's had to hire for the night. They enter this contest not knowing anything about each other, trying to answer questions about each other. And the Love Dove is the one who flips up and down the stage, trying to get them to answer the questions and lays golden eggs and to get prizes.
Of course, lovely.
Thank you very much, and show your appreciation once more for our